Geek Out!
Hey, and welcome to another Geek Out commentary. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
I'm Josh.
We are continuing our countdown to Star Trek Beyond and our celebration of 50 years of Star Trek after that brief holiday interlude last week with the first Next Generation Star Trek film.
Yay!
Appropriately titled Star Trek Generations. Ooh,
No number.
No number at all. The first Star Trek film without a number, I guess, other than the first one. I saw this in theaters back in 94.
I feel like this was the first Star Trek movie I saw in theaters.
I
mean, I know for a fact that it definitely wasn't any of the earlier ones, but I'm pretty sure I saw this in theaters.
Yeah. This came out the same year that the Next Generation ended.
Fitting.
They filmed the back half of season 7, the final season of Next Generation, simultaneously with Generations, which is kind of wild if you think about it. I think that was on the nearby soundstage because they had to use a different set for the Enterprise for the aspect ratios.
So does this movie have nods to stuff that happened throughout the series then?
It does. Like at the end of in the season 7 premiere, starting with the season 6 finale, Data gets an emotion chip, which he decides at the time not to install in himself because he's like, I'm not ready to have emotions yet. We see that pay off here.
Does Geordi have his visor in this one?
This is the only Star Trek film where Geordi LaForge has his visor. But
which is a shame because I think it's a great costume piece, and he looks weird without it.
He had been lobbying to get it removed.
I mean, I can understand why. It seems to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I can understand.
But for my enjoyment, I remember for some reason, again, being fascinated by visuals and not necessarily even the character or the story, because clearly I never really... I must have watched some episodes of Next Generation.
Yeah, I feel like it was almost always on UPN.
Yeah, because I had the Geordi LaForge action figure that I broke the visor off to see what he looked like underneath, and he had like pink eyes, and I was like, damn it, because I couldn't get it back on. And then...
Which is weird, because on the show, he had whiteout contacts.
Maybe it was white. For some reason, I thought they were pink, because they're just like, oh, shit. And then I had a Captain Picard toy as well. But, Geordi LaForge, I remember I just loved that visual. It's really cool.
Yeah. You guys have any thoughts on Next Gen or Generations before we jump in?
Same with Jake, with the, it was always on. This is really the only Star Trek that I knew for the longest time. And for quite some time, this was my favorite Star Trek movie. Recently, it's been preempted by First Contact as my favorite Generations movie. And then, as you guys remember from the previous commentaries, I have now, more recently experienced the joys of the original series movies, at least. And 5 is still my favorite.
I have nothing to add.
Okay.
Well, Chris, start us up.
Yeah. Well, we're watching my home DVD version of Star Trek Generations. You guys should be good with whatever medium you are using. I have, as per usual, the movie is set up, ready to go. The counter is paused at all zeros. I will give you a countdown and tell you to hit play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. And we're off.
The idea of a next-gen film had been proposed earlier, but they didn't want to, they were like, if we do this, we're basically going to have to end the show to keep that production going. Though the main cast was contracted for an 8th season. They were just like, well, while we have them like scheduling-wise, let's just make the movie now because it'll be too expensive to pay them all for an 8th season.
And this was a cute way to bring in the next-gen movies to start off with, a couple cast members from the original series.
Yeah, originally it was proposed that the entire original cast would be in the prologue, but because of scheduling or whatever, they could only settle on 3. And originally, from there, it was supposed to be Kirk, the classic trio, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. Leonard Nimoy backed out because he thought the dialogue wasn't written specifically for Spock. Like, he was like, any character can say this. It doesn't, like, me being the character that delivers these lines doesn't add anything. And to his point, he's like, they barely edited them, and they gave the lines to Scotty, and it comes off fine. And DeForest Kelley was too sick. He, at the time he was in his 70s, and his health was starting to fail, so they got Scotty and Chekhov to join Kirk for this one instead.
I do like how it starts off with a champagne bottle being thrown at the new Enterprise. It's a cute, like a nod to a lot of like space movies that start off with just like flying object in space, and this time it's just champagne bottle.
Searching for its maker.
Yeah. Sentient champagne bottle.
Trying to think what a like if V'ger is a bastardization of Voyager, what would like a bastardization of like Bollinger be? Blinger.
To boldly go where no liquor has gone before.
And that doesn't look terrible for early CGI.
Yeah, this is like 1994, you know? It's certainly better than anything in Undiscovered Country, right?
That's for sure.
It's
Bernie
better than-
Williams, the Yankees center fielder.
It looks better than the Enterprise in the menu screen. I don't know if you guys saw the same menu screen that we did. Like I said, this is the DVD version. I don't know if they changed it for the Blu-ray or naturally if you're watching it on the VHS. Kudos for getting it timed up properly. But it was a rough looking Enterprise.
Okay, good. The movie can start.
Yeah, at least it wasn't 5 minutes of that champagne bottle flying.
Enterprise B, if you remember correctly, at the end of Undiscovered Country, they were taking Enterprise A to get decommissioned.
And what is it on the show?
Next Gen and in the beginning of Generations, it's the Enterprise D.
Yeah.
We see what happens to Enterprise C. The guy looks like a Borg. It's just
Yeah.
a cameraman. Which is weird because the Borg are already a thing at that point.
Well, he has about the same facial expressions of a Borg.
Yeah. But yeah, we see what happens. You know who's the captain of the Enterprise C?
Who?
Kelsey Grammer.
Oh, shit.
Meanwhile, the captain of the Enterprise B is Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
Who was in several episodes of Scrubs.
Still honoring the Red Wings, I see. With a blinding light in my eye.
Yeah. Oh, there's two of them.
Fucking lots of women.
So same old, same old.
Fighting crimes as T.J. Hooker. And Tech War. The movie. Even though I guess he had done those by...
He does those a little after, yeah.
He's remembering, he's like, I've had many boring times on this ship.
Jake didn't like the first movie or the sixth.
They're both equally shit. But 2 through 5, though.
Pure
times.
money.
But I
Thought he was gay.
He's like, I don't know that man. That's the best acting I've ever seen from him.
He really was working on it. He was like, nah. If this is pretty much all I'm doing in this movie, it's gonna be gold.
Thanks, asshole.
That was the joke. Does Scotty have a double helix on his lapel? Oh, no, it's... Now it looks like candy.
Ooh, a piece of candy.
Ooh. Are they scanning his QR code?
Well, the one in the back right, he's a member of Next Generation, isn't he?
Voyager.
Ah,
Though as a different character. He's a Vulcan in Voyager.
okay.
He's Tuvok.
Ooh.
Again, with that amazing continuity in the series.
It's a different character.
Not to mention, Voyager isn't come out until what, 96?
Yeah.
Oh no, 95.
Man, back in Kirk's day, they still wouldn't have left space dock by now.
Certainly in the motion picture.
They would have just been boarding the ship. Oh, hey, that's
Yeah. Terminator 2.
I forget her name, but yeah, she also plays
Rodriguez?
I don't think it's Rodriguez, but it's a Hispanic name like that. She plays the
Aliens.
badass Marine lady in Aliens. It's crazy that she's able to pull that off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I forgot she was in this movie.
Oh, he looks super ready for this, guys.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what he did with his dad's sports car.
Yeah.
Oh. Let's see what he does with a full functioning starship.
Better be careful. There's no Ferris Bueller to dig you out of the pool this time.
A good thing there's no water in space.
In space, no one can hear you swim.
Oh, they look fine from here.
There is no tomorrow.
Why do I recognize that man?
He's Glenn Morsher or something. Like, he's always a general and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's a general in the Transformers movies. And get this cameraman out of my fucking face.
Yeah. While we're at it, beam him aboard that transport ship. Jesus, is there anything that doesn't arrive on Tuesday?
Good thing I know nothing about the human body.
pretty.
Oh, good. The medical staff isn't here, but they've loaded in all the pyrotechnics.
Yeah, well, that's always the thing about the next-gen movies. There's always like a console ready to blow up and send some dude flying dramatically.
What's the helm of an Enterprise? If it isn't blowing up, you're not doing your job right.
Please show me the nuclear vessels.
No, I'm Malcolm McDowell. I have to be in a Halloween movie in 13 years and still look the same.
I have to be the bad guy in Tank Girl.
That's the stuff.
Remember Caligula? Oh.
I've seen that.
Is that a Whoopi Goldberg?
It is. Origin story, sort of.
It's the earliest chronologically you see her.
Her eyebrows didn't make the jump.
They were arriving on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Got him.
Or send us into the 70s. I don't know which one.
Never been to the 70s before.
Fuck.
Do you have that?
I miss this chair. But keep the chair warm. I'm coming back for it.
I finally get to die on the ship.
He always knew he would die alone.
But spoilers, he doesn't. He dies with Picard.
Figuratively.
Yeah. For all intents and purposes, he dies alone.
It is funny thinking about Spock saying those Scotty lines, like, you know, a variation of them.
Yeah. Coming up with a theory, yeah. And of course it would be Chekhov asking about medical staff. Like, or it would be McCoy in Chekhov's role.
It does seem like those other two characters are, of course, icons of the original Enterprise, but it does seem weird having them like be the ones there instead.
As a casual fan, like, it never paid any mind to it, but now that you've said it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's wrong.
And McCoy would have such a better line to all these are arriving on Tuesdays.
And we know McCoy as a character survives until at least the start of Next Generation because he tours the Enterprise. Like old man McCoy tours the Enterprise before it takes off.
In the pilot.
He must be having the time of his life getting to do all this stuff.
Yeah, well, we've seen what his retirement's like, or we will.
It is an ugly-looking Enterprise.
Yeah, well, nobody gives a toss about the Enterprise B, right?
Nope. Except Cameron. So when do we see the C? Is that just in an episode?
There's an episode of
Next Gen?
the Next Gen called Yesterday's Enterprise.
Normally comes after 14.
That is that next number.
You have to touch it.
Not yet. That's next gen.
At least look at what you're talking to.
I have no more lines in this film.
Where's my dad? He always had something witty to say.
He got to take his shirt off and run around with a fencing foil.
How far removed again is Generations from the original series? Like within
Approximately 70 years.
70. Okay. You were?
No, I. Crewman, I.
Botany Bay.
Oh, no. Damn, we have to get out of here.
My dad is so gonna kill me when he sees this.
There was originally scripted but not shot an actual, like, a funeral for Captain Kirk where the cast shows up, but that got scrapped too.
Oh, 78.
Yeah, well, there
Well,
you go.
plus the 8-ish years for
I guess,
the series, yeah.
because this is technically after season 7.
Oh, get it? It's called the Enterprise. And it's a ship.
And they're sailors. I like that. Like, if you watch Next Gen, there's so many episodes where they're just randomly hanging out on the holodeck or like doing like art stuff. It's like, dude, being on the Next Gen Enterprise would be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You like work for like 8 hours and just do like the coolest shit.
Well, I remember reading somewhere that they said, like, the episodes centered around the holodeck they got to have the most fun with, of just creating stories to tell with it.
Yeah, westerns or Sherlock Holmes.
Gangsters.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know the gangster. Well, there's gangster stuff in this one, but there was gangster episode.
There's gangster stuff. There's gangster episodes. There's also
I know. Is it the Borg? The first
in
contact.
First Contact. There's a
Yeah.
big gangster section too.
Data just wasn't having any of this shit. Like, this is all fake.
It's illogical, isn't it, Captain? You know who directed a lot of episodes of he directed several of the Librarian TV movies.
Jonathan Frakes.
Jonathan Frakes, Will Riker himself.
Yeah.
He also directed Clock Stoppers.
Oh.
And several episodes of Castle.
Apparently, Geordie LaForge and Xena Warrior Princess have a similar strength.
It's impressive. Xena Warrior Princess hasn't even premiered yet.
It's like a ladder match that's about to happen. I like how they didn't even try to hide the fact that the ship was tethered. Earlier, I didn't mention it. I think Sam was talking, but I saw like a safety buoy in the ocean background as well.
Well done.
Why is that in slow-mo?
Because it was an action set piece.
Oh, of course.
Gravity is weird on the holodeck.
My makeup is leaking. Leaking?
God, would he be the most like annoying person to be around? Just having to explain everything.
Doctor.
Yes.
This is your Frankenstein moment.
Doctor, you're gonna eat those words.
Directed by Sam Peckinpah.
Not cool, man. Do you even know what you're saying?
Quit upstaging me, Will. No mutants, no kids.
Picard got excited.
Let's have more of that.
It's like the danger room.
Acting.
Spoilers, I'm bald.
And he just walks off the side of the boat.
For all intents and purposes, yes.
I have no idea.
Which ship, sir? This one or the real one?
All of them. I thought their outfits were holograms too.
Because that's something that exists in the series. Like they'll go in and out of the holodeck dressed up for the holodeck.
Okay.
Gotta love that replicator technology.
Well, how complimentary.
The big things you'll notice on the movie Enterprise set, little darker lighting, actual interactive screens, as opposed to just like random displays. And the captain's seat is a little more raised to give it a little more prominence.
They didn't have the concepts of things like number one in the originals.
In the original
right?
series, well, that's always been kind of like
That's a Picard thing, right?
That's a Picard term for his executive officer.
Hmm. Who would have been the executive officer on
Spock.
Okay.
Basically the second highest ranking officer.
All right.
I think I enjoy Generations just fine. I think I certainly more so than the Undiscovered Country, but I think some of my big problems with it is after the opening, it kind of like the pacing kind of goes out a bit, and the Data's subplot, while I think it's a necessary subplot, I don't think they execute particularly well.
No, they do it so much better in First Contact.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's basically the same subplot.
Yeah. I'm still Malcolm McDowell.
I haven't aged a day,
Is it
but I
time?
have this scar.
Is it time for Halloween yet?
Tank girl and a bunch of mutant kangaroo things.
Now,
One of them sounded like iced tea.
within the crew, the blue means medical and science?
Yeah.
And the yellow is engineering?
In Next Gen, gold is engineering and security, and red is command.
Which is a funny little nod to the red shirt syndrome.
Mm.
The idea being
Very self-aware.
yeah.
It's Geordi touching Geordi.
Yeah. Brent Spiner would say the worst thing he's ever had to act with was the damn cat from Next Generation and Generations.
Is that a Pokedex in his hand?
Yeah, he's trying to catch all 151.
Gotta catch them all.
Mm.
It's a shame that, to my knowledge, Will Wheaton never got to be in any of these movies.
I was just about to ask after hearing that name.
He has
Dr. Crusher is his mom.
Yeah, he has a silent cameo in Nemesis, and there's a deleted scene where he talks about what he's been doing lately in Nemesis. But yeah, that's as much as you get of Will Wheaton's Wesley Crusher in the Next Gen films.
Hmm. Do we know if he was offered to join or just...
I can't speak to Generations. I feel like they wanted to keep it pretty tight. Remember, he wasn't a fan favorite character.
Oh, yeah.
By his own admission.
Yep.
Speaking of Will Wheaton, I started reading, and by reading I mean listening to, because I do audiobooks, Armada, the to my knowledge, the second book by Ernest Cline, the guy who wrote Ready Player One. And much like Ready Player One's audiobook, the Armada audiobook is read by Will Wheaton.
Nice.
Yeah. An interesting plot point, I guess, in this versus First Contact is that Data, in order to turn off his emotion chip in Generations, it actually has to be like removed, and it's like a relatively dangerous procedure, to make it more necessary that he always has it on once he turns it on in this movie. But in First Contact, all he has to do is flick his head, and it's deactivated. He can just turn it on and off at will.
They made it a nice narrative kind of. Just makes it easier.
Just bops it.
Yeah. That's,
Twist it.
Yeah, that's an unexplained modification for the character in between the films. Just like they never explain why that Geordi gets implants in between this and First Contact. He just has ocular implants in
And
First
it's accepted.
Yeah. I think he might say it briefly. He's like, "Yeah, my implants are reacting to this." It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay." So then,
I think at some point, he has he's the ability to like do telescopic vision or see through see heat in its signatures or something like that in First Contact.
Eventually shoot laser beams from his eyes.
He becomes Superman essentially with his eyes. I love his reaction to this though.
But I really won't. Data, you're an alcoholic.
It's his first emotion.
Alcohol is an emotion. Dr. Sauron?
I'll beat you by shouting.
It's a British off.
Yeah. Very nice to meet you. No, very nice to meet you.
I mean, well, if it is a British off, then I think Picard's losing because a proper gentleman does not raise his voice.
But he's of French ethnicity in this universe, correct?
Picard, yeah.
Yeah.
His family
Very silly French accent.
His family runs a vineyard in France. He talks a lot about his French parentage.
Well, in the future, all Frenchmen are English.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a future where Brexit never happened.
Oh.
Topical.
So it's fiction.
Well, yeah. No shit.
Or Brexit does happen and England invades France, takes over.
100 Years' War Part 2.
Yeah. It's approximately 200 years in the future, so who knows what accents are.
Or within a few years, they learn the error of their ways and vote themselves back in.
It is a non-binding resolution. Anyway, enough fucking shits.
Not to get too political.
Let's focus on Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, well, there she goes.
The movie didn't even want to focus on Whoopi Goldberg. So was that the bulk of her role on the TV show, just like essentially a bartender?
Bartender. She's got some prior experience with Q and the Borg. So she's kind of works, both as like a real bartender, both as a bartender and a counselor.
Was her past kind of mysterious?
Yeah, we all we know is that she's much older than she seems, like by like centuries, and
at least by like 50
chronologic. Now that I'm thinking about it, chronologically, the first time we see her is actually in the late 19th century in San Francisco, because there's a time travel. The season 5 to season 6 episodes are they travel back to the 19th century of San Francisco, and she's there, and she's. And they're like, "Oh, we know you," and she's like, "I don't know who you are yet."
So
one of these days, I'm gonna sit down and try to watch more Next Gen, because I have watched a decent amount of the first 2 seasons.
Well, those are like the 2 worst seasons. So once you get past those, it's smoother
Maybe I'll
sailing.
Just jump ahead to the season 2 finale, because they usually did 2-parter.
Though the two is the last one that doesn't have a. I guess. Season 7, obviously, but like but yeah, 2 is the last non-2-parter.
Well, then fuck it, I'll just jump to season 3. Okay. I've already seen Q, so I'm good.
Do people like Data? Is he like a fan favorite?
I think people like Data when he doesn't have an emotion chip arc.
That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, he's pretty annoying in this movie.
Yeah, from my understanding, this is like the least favorite Data in this movie. Although I think his song is wonderful.
See, what you're saying is they would have rather had Wesley than this Data.
This Data.
If this Data could be replaced by Wesley Crusher, probably would have been fine. Now he's just that annoying guy who doesn't know when to stop making jokes.
Yeah. I could throw you out the airlock instead.
He's like worse than me.
Even he's having none of this shit.
I know, right now I'm looking at ripped pictures of Al Pacino, and that's better than this.
It's not even your birthday.
He's probably thinking, I could have lost my hearing instead of my eyesight. Man, I am just going to phaser you into non-existence.
I'm going to start a kids' TV show about how fun it is to read.
Careful, there might be a young Vulcan in there. Oh, look, it's the Joker.
It's he's infected with the Joker gas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that would mean he'd get to die. And we have to wait 3 movies for that.
Wait for it. Yes! He shut the fuck up. I don't know, is there a masked killer around here somewhere?
Act like this is intimidating, please.
Y'all are children. Now you never will. Spoilers.
I think they're fine.
Not his brother and his wife.
That's fair. We actually meet Picard's brother in the season 4 episode Family. Or is it Home? I don't give a shit. It's in season 4.
Home is that really intense episode of The X-Files.
One of my favorites, really.
After
So
doing a
that's the one
rewatch,
where
it was
we
really
meet him.
good. Yeah, that's where you
Yeah,
meet Picard's
yeah.
brother.
It's so good that he goes onto a Fox Network program.
Acting.
There's kind of this undercurrent theme of life and death within generations. You know, the idea of Data experiencing life for the first time, of Picard losing his family and realizing that he hasn't started a family of his own, that Kirk can't enjoy life outside of Starfleet. How come I never see any pictures of crying Picard from this movie? Like, I see so many like memes with Patrick Stewart Picard, but no crying Picard. I get David Tennant in The Rain, but I don't get crying Jean-Luc Picard.
I got you.
As someone with probably the most minimal Star Trek knowledge, do you have a preference, Kirk or Picard?
I think early on I was talking about Kirk's the iconic. Like when you think of Star Trek, I think most people think of Captain Kirk, and that's what I've enjoyed. That's what I enjoyed the most, especially about 5. When they were like by the campfire and talking about his life and that he always knew he was going to die alone. Like I like the Captain Kirk character. I think everything at the same time, Picard. No offense, Mr. Shatner, but Picard. Patrick Stewart's a better actor, and there's just more of this like kind of gravitas to him. But I just like the more iconic. I like the more iconic Captain Kirk in terms of the captains. He's my favorite.
Same. Just in case anyone was curious.
I'm always curious with Jake because this is the first time he's seen Generations. This is very much like fresh eyes for him.
Mm-hmm.
And have you guys seen the latter 2 next gen films, Insurrection and Nemesis?
Yes.
I saw them in theaters, and that's the last time I remember seeing either of them.
What? The fuck?
I'm glad to see those are still a thing. Or the fact that they still can't detect a cloaked bird of prey.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. Also, presumably, the Klingon technology would have advanced just the same, so they're probably constantly making new cloaking stuffs.
Can't beat that.
I feel like I do see that a lot. The pointing Picard.
Yeah. Or the mid ah.
Yes, the
With the
presentation Picard.
Yeah, the why the fuck.
Yeah.
This.
That was the expert palm strike from Malcolm McDowell. The Duras sisters were introduced as rogue Klingon bird of prey commanders in the series. Though they, their arc was never resolved in the series, which is fine because it gets resolved here because, I mean, come on.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
You have a Death Star?
He did just blow up a star.
In case none of you understood that English accent.
Yes, how it's Shakespearean. Let's recreate Ghost.
You've got some splaining
Oh my! Right, it was that song.
Sure, why not?
to do. Sounds good to me.
I'll let you have it regardless.
Insert the Ghost Pottery song here. I'm pretty sure that's kind of how it starts.
Isn't that what got her the Academy Award?
Ghost, yeah.
Yeah.
Are we sure it wasn't Sister Act Part 2?
Back in the Habit? No.
What was that one with a dinosaur?
Theodore Rex.
Yes, Theodore Rex.
That must have been a contender.
It was quote unquote good enough to be a "How did this get made?" episode.
She's in the rebooted Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first one, right?
Was she? As herself?
I don't remember her in that.
Isn't she in the first one? Maybe I'm just zoning out. I don't know.
I try to not remember that movie as much as possible.
No. The thing I've learned about the Star Trek movies so far is that they're very good at basically having no plot, and then all of a sudden, at the last 10 minutes, they're like, "Here it is. Hope you got it." Nope. Well, there'll be another one. If not, watch the show.
There were two that weren't that good at doing it.
Yeah.
It's a very, very long, written out television episode so far.
Again, after the opening for this, for this movie, it kind of stalls out a bit. Because we got another hour.
I know.
First Contact does a much better job.
It's a monster movie in space. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's got a real enemy.
Malcolm McDowell not good enough for you?
I don't feel like he's the enemy, really, per se, in this one.
Well, he does destroy a star and try to destroy another one, thus eradicating all life on a planet.
Yeah.
But
He is responsible for the death of James T. Kirk and the destruction of the Enterprise D.
Yeah, but that's collateral damage by his science
He's still a bad guy.
Yeah.
Anyone
Just
who kills,
because he saved a girl.
anyone who
doesn't mean
kills
he's not
James T. Kirk in Star Trek is kind of the bad guy.
Yeah. It's kind of there's not a whole lot of criteria, but that's pretty big criteria. But look at Bondage Geordie LaForge here.
Yeah.
my favorite.
Oh my God, he's not wearing a shirt. Okay, I thought that was his uniform.
No. Pay close attention, Jake. His eyes aren't pink.
Yeah, that's bumming me out.
But Malcolm McDowell's not really a bad guy, guys. As Josh already stated.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything that a real bad
Oh
guy
yeah, he has a decent motivation, like lots of bad guys.
I mean, he's not going out of his way to kill them all.
Oh, God.
As he's talking to a man without a shirt strapped to a gurney.
He is in league with the Klingons.
So is Picard.
Rogue Klingons.
Picard is in league with a Klingon.
Yeah. It's part of an officer exchange program.
Who'd the Klingons get?
Not Worf.
They didn't have a big ceremony in the first episode.
They just make a big hullabaloo in the first episode. You're the first Klingon officer on a Starfleet vessel, and he's like, I fucking know.
You don't think I knew that?
I always liked this set. This wasn't a room in the next. This was, I think, it's the only new room on the Enterprise in this film.
Cerebro?
Basically,
Yeah.
they call it this. I think they call it the Star Chart Room or the observatory or something.
Sorry, I was just thinking about how cool that one Queens of the Stone Age album is. I don't know why Queens of the Stone Age was the one that I was trying to think of Rush, but for some reason their name wasn't coming to me.
So it came Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah. All
right.
I don't know how my brain works.
This has got to be a good year for Brent Spiner, though, because 96, 94. Oh, I guess so, yeah. Independence Day isn't for another 2 years. But that's the same year that First Contact comes out. I'll talk more about the best year in Brent Spiner's life next time.
He's got a good year ahead of him.
Yeah. Well, in 2 years, yeah.
It's still a
It
good
is
year
ahead of him, yeah. It's the best.
Too bad there's not a new Star Trek movie coming out this year featuring Brent Spiner.
Yeah. I haven't seen Beyond yet. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, that's true. He might be in it.
He could travel through time.
To the parallel timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the parallel timeline they build data sooner by like 60 years. Bet you like that was the scene that sold data on this whole thing. Like, you mean I get to act alongside Patrick Stewart? Or can you just project your insecurities? And Hans.
He's moving a line on the screen?
Yep.
How diabolical.
Mm. So Malcolm McDowell's little cult thing is basically like those guys that killed themselves when Hale Bopp came by.
The, what was that?
I used to know what they were called.
Was it Heaven's Gate?
Yes.
Okay. Named after the Michael Cimino film.
Clearly.
That's all they did. They just watched it and talked about comets. Even though Heaven's Gate is a Western.
Yeah. They're like, guys, wasn't that Western great?
It sounds a bit like an 80s synth pop band.
It can be now.
Yeah. Oh, the only thing that
Trademarked.
stopped... Yeah. Well, yeah, by Michael Cimino for cinematic purposes.
So we can't make a movie.
Yeah.
But what about the band?
Can you legally name a band after a movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
It's
all right.
from my understanding, not a lawyer. Just put that, asterisk right there.
It's a pretty big asterisk.
Yeah. But I have taken legal classes in the vein of entertainment with my going to film school and stuff like that. From my understanding, when you trademark a name of something, you're only trademarking it within that medium. So we talked about this because someone with like McDonald's or something like that. So like you could have a retail store called McDonald's. As long as McDonald's themselves, that corporation probably has done a good job of copywriting the name McDonald's, but I'm speaking loosely. Like you could, in theory, make, sell something called McDonald's and not get in trouble by McDonald's, as long as you're not also using their logo, because their logo is trademarked as a logo, as its own entity. It doesn't have to be within, food service industries. But yeah. So you could have a movie called McDonald's. Holy crap, is that the alien bounty hunter from X-Files?
Ooh. I think it might have been.
I mean, he's in heavy makeup and has like a mouthpiece in, so
Yeah, but you can't hide that forehead.
no
that
matter how much
forehead.
Klingon.
Yeah.
That's the most heavily made up part.
He's also wearing a wig.
I don't care. You can't hide that forehead. With that forehead.
The hell is his name? Brian Johnson? I'm gonna.
Is he a porn star?
Hold on. I know what I can look up to get his name. He's one of the lead actors in Pass the Ammo. With
Is he an alien bounty hunter in that?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
With Tim Curry, Bill Pullman, and Annie Potts. If you ever
What a
have the
cast.
chance to see the movie Pass the Ammo, I highly recommend it. I have 2 copies of it on Laserdisc. One's still sealed.
I mean,
It is Brian Thompson. Well, is his name. He's one of the guys that Arnold Schwarzenegger kills in the opening of The Terminator. With
He's also the bad guy in Cobra.
Yeah. What year did this come out? 2004?
94.
That's right. That's what I meant.
You know, it's not unexpected how shitty their makeup looks. Once again.
Oh, that's right. He was also the judge on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It is him.
Well done, Chris.
I know, right? Oh, he's also in an episode of Hercules, The Legendary Journeys.
Is he
With-
clean on in that?
With Sorbo status. He's Goth the Barbarian.
Close enough.
Oh, he was in 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine. Judging by his character's name, I assume he is also a Klingon.
Well, obviously he's not on this ship, then.
Maybe not that character.
Yeah. Yeah, he's credited as just, what is it? Klingon Helm in this movie. And then it's Taman Torax / Inglatu, which I assume different character for each episode.
Sounds like he got a role upgrade.
He's also in Mortal Kombat Annihilation. But yeah, Brian Thompson, not Johnson.
There went his porn career.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he could still go by Brian Johnson.
You know, Brian Johnson is like the ex-lead singer of AC/DC.
Yes, and porn star.
Yeah, now he's replaced by Axl Rose. Oh boy. We just see old men kick the shit out of each other.
Wouldn't it be Star Trek if it didn't happen?
Soon it'll be 3 old men kicking the shit out of each other.
In Pass the Ammo, Brian Thompson has a huge head of hair. Blonde locks. Oh, he's in Moonlighting.
Cool.
Do you know he used to be married to Mary Steinberger? Do you know that's acting?
What? You mean they didn't have a force field right there?
As opposed to what just happened?
Acting.
Get it? Get it? Get it? Get it?
Fuck.
Yeah,
Outta
they're-
here.
Yeah, this used to be my favorite Star Trek movie, guys.
What changed your mind?
Watching other ones. Like, I always knew First Contact was good, and like I always liked the Borg as an enemy, but like for whatever reason, it took me a long time to rewatch First Contact and be like, is Generations my favorite Star Trek movie? The answer's no, kids.
You're always allowed to change your mind.
It's Star Trek 5. But First Contact comes in as a good second. I think probably right around the same level as Wrath of Khan.
It's, I mean, well, I'll talk more about it next week, but I think First Contact is certainly the best next-gen film.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I do tend to think a floating head in space makes a better enemy than Malcolm McDowell.
Zordon?
Him too.
I mean, we saw his command center in one of them.
Yeah.
The last one.
6. Yeah. It's been so long.
That was Undiscovered Country, right? Yeah.
Yes. Well, die.
This is a pretty sweet jacket, right, Picard? Right? Look how I walk around with it, even though it's fucking, like, in the desert.
Yeah. Is this the Star Trek mountain? It's not, right?
It's not the Vasquez Rocks,
Okay.
but it kind of looks like it.
Yeah, it has that sloped.
Where?
Who?
All the W's.
How is? Like the movie Predator.
Does Picard's thinking, does that make me Schwarzenegger?
Danny Glover.
Ooh.
Always Danny.
Dylan. The Nexus, that really bad WWE faction with who was that? Triple H, Dave Bautista, and Randy Orton.
That is the new truth. They can't all be Scotty.
Here we go, boys.
Yeah, I had to ask that question.
Jake, are you listening?
Yes.
Prepare for the best solo ever.
Okay.
Worf, beam him the fuck out of here.
Worf. Does Worf beam?
It's usually Geordi. He's the chief engineer.
Yeah.
Worf is chief of security. He would just probably blow him up.
Throw him out the airlock.
Whatever, just get him the fuck off the ship.
Enhance. We all can read.
No shit.
Penetrate.
No, don't take the helm. That's set to blow up next. Oh, so they're just old tech. They never upgraded.
Again, renegade Klingons.
Oh, mama, I'm in fear of the... Wait. Renegade. Like... Bum, 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 ba-dam, bum, 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 bum. Just do it!
Riker just punches Data. I can do this myself.
That would be awesome.
Look at my beard. I can do this myself.
He's like, life forms, and just cracks his head open.
Rips out the emotion chip with his
Feel this.
Oh, Worf rip him from limb to limb.
He's like, have you felt pain? He's like, I believe not. And just fucking...
You will.
Yeah. You will. Rips his fucking eyeballs out.
Just do it. Don't say it.
Yeah, stuns.
Wow.
Oh,
Guy broke his
whoa.
neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the chair.
That's when the world knew Star Trek was being taken seriously. Just
That was the
blow
yelling bounty
these
hunter yelling that.
fuckers out of the sky, please. Just fucking do it. Kill them all.
Huh? Metallica?
Yes.
Shit.
Good.
Good. I don't know why they have the weird zoom right before. Like, oh.
The last thing they ever saw was each other.
No.
Good. That's exactly what I wanted.
Look at that dick-shaped... There it goes.
I was going to say, that looks like an exploding penis.
Don't they all explode?
Lord knows mine does.
Wait for it. Acting. Double acting.
Thank God he turns that off in the next movie.
Yeah.
Throw rocks, Picard. Just throw
Yeah.
rocks.
That's the kind of action sequence we need in this movie.
Yeah, if you think about it, like the back half of the film is just Picard debating with, Soren on a desert planet, occasionally throwing rocks at a force field.
I mean, that is how the English wage war in space.
Yeah. But they're, I was going to say, but they're not on space, and he's a Frenchman, but I don't fucking know anymore. I don't even know.
No.
No. That's better.
I sure showed him.
Oh.
I can just make it through.
I'll use the sweat glistening off my bald head as lube
And
ease myself in.
screw that. I'll call him the X-Men.
We're about to get an epic Geordie maneuver.
Does he do a barrel roll?
Yes. There it is.
No.
Oh, and he landed like Goldblum in Jurassic Park.
Don't they do this in the first episode of the TV show?
They're in separate. Yeah, the saucer's separated from the main part, and they connect. The idea of the Enterprise getting destroyed was something originally proposed for the season 7, the part 1 of this, what would have been the season 7 season finale, but then they decided to just end the series, and they're like, well, we'll save that for the movie.
Were there
It'll look cooler.
Were there family and children on Kirk's Enterprise?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Though there's more... the Enterprise D is bigger than the Enterprise Prime. There's, I think in the series premiere, Picard mentions that it's like 750 people on his version of the Enterprise, whereas Kirk's was around 450.
Mm-hmm. And, the idea is that these guys are, out exploring on long trips. So
She loses her innocence with a teddy bear.
So they bring the
Symbolism.
family. So they bring the family with them. It's a nice touch for the future.
They get to do all sorts of fun stuff on the ship, like art classes.
holodecks,
Yeah.
hollandaise, sauce. Do, 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 do.
Just go. Just go.
You have eternity waiting, and that's the best you came up with.
So, as
One rock at a time, one rock at a time.
as an interesting side point, interesting to me at least, as Ken and I talked about in the last episode of Laserdiscs, this movie has a unique quality. As Laserdiscs oft are, it's split into multiple sides. This one in particular is 3 sides because the center section of it, the stuff that we're watching right now, was in the high quality CAV, which is weird that the center section is. Normally, if anything, the last side is, but this was split on 3 sides, and only side 2 was CAV, and it's because they wanted to have this action set piece happen in CAV quality. Whereas, like, the last half hour of the movie, they were like, meh, it's just 3 old guys fighting. But this, it's the Enterprise crashing.
That must have been a trailer moment.
Yes, and all those red band Star Trek Generations trailers.
Get it, Picard.
Peekaboo.
Oh, for God's sake! I'm gonna hold it sideways like a boss.
Yeah.
But it's still going to twist.
He's like,
And shout?
Yeah.
Picard, you ruined my targeting systems. Stand still, you little prick.
So that's how
pretty
Charles lost the use of his legs.
Yeah. He wasn't strong enough.
good. Yeah, for 94, that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, look at Geordi being a beast.
Yeah, well, this ship at least was still, miniature. But the heat.
Yeah, no, yeah, the heat and stuff, that looks good.
Probably just the same effect that they used for the Nexus, but
Oh, look, it's
Look
a
at
flying
that.
saucer.
it's really messing with this civilization's advancement.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not even a Class M planet.
But it is, because it has an Earth-like atmosphere.
Sorry, I don't really know what the classifications are. There's like I thought, what does it mean that they just haven't figured out warp technology yet?
They also haven't figured out seatbelts.
They've gone through, 3 other Enterprises
They fought
by this
God.
point? They still haven't figured out seatbelts.
They're just like getting jackknife powerbombed, that's all. It's like when the Batwing crashes in 89. Just Oh,
Well, he's dead.
thanks for your service on the Enterprise.
Why did we have so much non-safety glass?
Yeah.
You'd think we would have figured this out by now. Oh, but thanks, Worf, for having that little flashlight. It really helped everyone out. Now they lurch forward. I guess it has come to a complete stop.
Finn. Please God, Finn.
Enhance.
That, yeah. Please enhance.
Blue skies.
Good thing that interrupts her out in space.
Yeah.
Feeling pretty good.
Did you guys hear something?
Feeling pretty good.
And then the light reflects off of Picard's bald head at just the right angle, and he's just like, ah!
Gets vaporized by it.
Yeah. I feel like there's...
No words, just emotions.
It's like the cradle level in Goldeneye.
Yeah, and like 50 years later.
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake! Oh.
Mild inconvenience, but just made way worse because he's old.
The Nexus. Nobody makes me bleed my own blood. It's amazing how quickly that rocket gets to the sun.
It is like the 24th century.
Sure.
Now, that's a science fair experiment.
It's amazing how quickly the lights dim. Seeing as how there's still light coming off of that sun.
It is like the 24th century.
Dear diary, it's the 24th century. Chris doesn't know anything about helio technology.
Oh.
In the 24th century.
Brazil.
Can't wait till we do those movie commentaries.
Right?
Mm.
Little tease.
Yeah.
Trailer moment.
That actually wasn't the trailer, yeah.
I think there was a tease to the oh shit in the trailer.
He might have said,
like,
oh,
oh zhuzh.
Yeah.
And everyone died anyway.
Yep. They weren't caught they weren't in the path of the Nexus. The planet was blocking them, so they get fucked, along with the millions of other inhabitants of that system.
And I think that's where the Laserdisc side changes. It's an appropriate place for it.
I love how Picard's acid dream is a Victorian tale of him surrounded by children.
Isn't that all of our acid dreams?
This is Patrick Stewart's dream.
Hot.
Wait, how do I know your name?
Because it's his dead nephew.
Ooh.
I love you, but I don't think this is real. I don't think you're real.
Which just goes to prove that Picard is a better captain than Kirk, because Kirk gets suckered in, as we see in a minute.
Well, he finds Kirk in the moment that he gets there, as far as
True.
Kirk is concerned.
Don't poke holes in my
But it's
my loose, like, just kind of thrown together, I don't even fully believe it 100% theories.
Dear
You gotta
diary,
disclaim these things.
Picard knows it. Kirk doesn't.
Just random portrait of a bald man behind him.
Yeah, don't we all have random portraits of a bald man? Don't look around for mine. Just because I say it doesn't mean I wholeheartedly believe it. Although I'm sure if you looked hard enough, you would be able to find a bald man. I mean, Freddy Krueger's bald, right? That's technically a portrait of him right over there.
Deadpool's
And there's-
bald.
Yeah, Deadpool, and he was right behind me. Batista's bald. Or, Drax, his character in that movie. Bald guy on that box right there.
Christina Ricci.
Most beautiful bald man in the world.
Right there.
Why is there a Christmas tree outside?
It's Christmas in here, not out there.
It's the 24th century, Sam.
Is it?
I don't know, man. He's got like all the Victorian kids.
Where the fuck did you come from? Oh, seriously, where the fuck did she come from?
This is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful children.
Are you my Jiminy Cricket?
I can't remember if they explain it, but like it's because she was kind of being pulled into the Nexus as they beamed her out of the ship in the beginning.
Yeah, because she says she was like, I was torn out of it.
Yeah, okay.
So she hasn't been torn out yet in this Nexus?
It's
Well,
like
she's-
an echo of what she...
Yeah,
yeah.
she's
She's
just-
just aware of Picard and stuff.
Time has no meaning. And also, like, she's probably more in tune with it, so she doesn't have that same adjustment period.
So she,
And also, she was, like, willingly going into it, whereas he just kind of into it.
I think anybody that comes in contact with a Nexus would at least theoretically have an echo into it. If they're fully enveloped like Soren, who I guess technically Soren, a version of Soren always exists in the Nexus, right?
So she's like a copy-paste.
Sure.
Or like an echo. So she can't be a quack. That's what I'm saying. Because quacks don't echo.
Stern Picard.
Well, he's
Stern but fair.
He's literally letting go of the ghost of his nephew, right? And for
No,
some reason,
no time for metaphor.
For some reason, they are rich enough to have a working carousel in their living room.
Hey, man. Time has no meaning. Therefore, money has no meaning because money
Yeah.
is time.
So Picard's fantasy is he has
Children.
Victorian children
Mm-hmm.
with a Victorian wife, multiple Christmas trees, and a carousel in his living room.
For the children.
But no Bob Cratchit to yell at.
We don't know how much exists outside that door.
All we know is that it's his house and Kirk's house.
That's actual William Shatner's like house. Like they just filmed around his
He
house.
just happened to be chopping wood one day in his Starfleet uniform, and they were like, "Hey, Bill, you ready to shoot?" And he's like, "What?
Of course.
Always ready to shoot."
Reminds me of the same set they used for that campfire scene.
I imagine it's supposed to be same general area, right? Iowa.
Well, in this case, yeah. I mean, it literally is William Shatner's like home.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's rustic, American-ish mountain area. Sure. Nobody cooks eggs here. We just fertilize them.
William Shatner's actual dog. Basically, it was like, hey, can we just film around your house and use your stuff? Fine.
He's alive right there.
Antonia. But I killed her. See, I thought this whole movie was going to be like them teaming up, not the last fucking 30 minutes.
You know, you and probably a lot of the people that watched the movie.
Christ. I start to give a shit now.
Hearts, gold, and horseshoes. Clovers and blue moons.
I was going to ask her to marry me with a horseshoe.
Isn't that how you do it? You just have her stick her ring finger up and you try to horseshoe it on. If you get it the first time you're married. It's Iowa tradition, right?
Yeah. This isn't the woman that his son came from, right?
No, that's Dr. Carol Marcus. It was originally scripted to be Dr. Carol Marcus, but for whatever reason, they're like, let's just make it a new lady that we don't really see, like, apart from off-camera dialogue and a silent woman in the distance. Cooking with William Shatner.
Is that how you beat eggs? Well, I feel like I don't beat eggs like that.
Maybe we've been doing it wrong the whole time.
I need to shatten up my kitchen. Oh, I'm French. I don't know how to cook.
Oh, he's wondering where the heavy sauces are.
Lots of cream.
In the saucepan. Oh, oh. 78. We saw the title card.
I don't care. I want a show cooking with Shatner.
Where things just pop up.
Always a renegade, even in a Nexus. Oh, when?
He keeps coming back for more.
And sleep with my wife. Well,
Soon to be wife.
I should probably not go in this room.
fuck it. There's no door.
I was not expecting this.
This is a very weird bedroom.
Are we sure? I mean, how much do we know about his private life?
Am I God?
Do I still need a starship?
Ba, 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 ba. Good thing I'm a master at speed horsing. This isn't real. Horses can't jump. A horse. No, she's a centaur.
You're not ready to stop bullets and fight agents.
So, come here often? I still got at least 3 more movies in me.
And buck regulation.
The hardest line William Shatner ever had to deliver.
They could have simplified it. Who am I to argue with me?
Let's ride into a whatever the fuck they ride into. It's
Green
Bunch
screen?
of bushes.
At least you're not watching it on a view screen.
Oh, we don't get to see cocky, pleased Malcolm McDowell.
kinda. I mean, we don't get the close up.
It's a pocket watch, isn't it?
Yes.
You've met him before. I mean, it was like almost 80 years ago, but still. No, wait. No, he didn't. Never mind.
He means Chekhov.
What was his Nexus fantasy?
It's hinted
Also, small children.
Yeah, it's implied that it's it's implied that it's his family that was killed in an accident before his first journey into the Nexus. That's why he was always trying to get there, so he could spend an eternity with his lost wife and kids. Three old men fighting.
Where's that famous karate chop you do?
I mean, he literally, that was like the first thing he did.
I must have blinked.
It's a long blink because it's a slow move. Oof.
Go around to the other side, you just see Tom Cruise freeforming up the mountain.
It's Mission Impossible 2.
That might be the same mountain face, though. Oh no, it's gone invisible. Now we can't find it. Damn, I dropped the remote.
Yeah, God forbid you were staring right at it and know exactly where it is.
I mean, you still got to use
They
the
know
controls.
they know where it is. They just don't. They have to separate.
He has cloaking too.
No. Well, I thought it was funny. snake.
The original filmed ending was Soren shooting Captain Kirk in the back, but they thought it was... I don't know, they felt it was a little... It didn't pay off as much as this. But they, based on audience reaction, they were still like, we probably still maybe could have done this better. Like literally executed Captain Kirk better.
Yeah, I remember.
Jeez.
I remember in the as being in the audience, I was like, I don't really get why he died because of this. Like, I guess it was lethal, but like I was like, what? He's just suddenly dead.
I don't know. I could see that fall killing
Yeah.
him.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But more so the fact that it was just kind of a little anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It didn't feel earned properly, so to speak.
It's Captain, asshole.
Didn't you hear the "You're the Man Now" dog song? Damn. Another one of those damn zooms.
Every time someone fucking dies, they have like the death realization zoom, except for I guess Kirk. But like every time somebody blows up, they have the like, oh,
That doesn't happen to you?
I'll let you know if and when it happens, but I won't
If.
because I'll be dead. But
If.
That's okay. I'll just read your diary
by
about it.
explosion.
Yeah, because it's only explosions.
Yeah. I'll have enough time in my diary to be like, yo, I totally had a zoom right before I went.
It'll just simply be zoom.
So I guess if you don't blow up a star, that thing is completely harmless?
Well, he was
The-
blowing it up to change the trajectory of the Nexus.
The gravity of the star was pulling it a certain direction as it was flowing through the solar system. So if you get rid of the star, the gravity no longer pulls it, and therefore it hits
Goes
the
destroys
planet.
another planet.
Well, it's not that it destroys the planets; it's the destruction of the star that destroys the planets.
Ah, okay.
Which
So
is
that
why he had
means-
to time it just right.
So the Nexus is harmless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Shatner was given the option of what his last lines would be, and he was like, well, Kirk is confronted by, all sorts of weird things across the galaxy every day. How would he react to the ultimate final frontier? How would he react to death? And he was like, it would be something that he finally wouldn't be able to articulate, just like, oh my.
Hmm.
It's like a music video.
Yeah, that's right.
All the transitions.
Slashes out, comes outside. That's right. I thought that scene was played pretty well by Shatner, I thought. But it is a straight up fucking music video.
Now he's just rocks.
Yeah. So he just like untangled his body out the mass of that like metal and human.
Yeah, and dragged him to the
Dragged him to the top and then put rocks on him.
Yeah, I always figured they would have like beamed out his body, given it proper burial, I guess, by either their regulations or I imagine there had to be something in his
Maybe down the
will.
line, when they've got a working starship.
Yeah, they don't really
True.
have a working starship right now. That thing can only travel so far. And with so many people.
Not enough room for all those rocks. Also, the writers won't let me.
I hate you.
Fuck, the cat made it.
You'll believe an android can cry.
Why did they build me with tear ducts?
Why are they yellow?
I think it's working just fine. Credits.
No explanation.
Please.
Poor Data has no idea why he's crying so happy. Ah, nerd in his books. I mean, it's the photo album he was looking at earlier, but still. Time is a valuable thing. Watch it tick by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day.
Time is but an illusion.
Were you just quoting Ghostbusters 2?
Yes.
Fame!
None of my lifetime, number one.
I mean, they've had 4 before it, so why not?
It's not like there's other names.
Like Excelsior. Hey, is that the Excelsior?
Farragut.
Oh, I thought he said Captain Farragut, not Captain of the Farragut. I don't even know.
So yeah, that's Star Trek Generations. Like I said, it's all right. I just think it hits a real big wall after it really gets going, or just when it starts to get going, and then again, Data's subplot. Come on, man.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Revisiting this one.
I basically, same. I mean, it's just it's got some cool stuff. I do love me some Malcolm McDowell action. Even if it's old man Malcolm McDowell action. So it's still definitely better than the latter two. And the last one. It's better than the last one.
Yeah, the beginning's fine. It was cool to see Kirk in action. The end is fine, but just not. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was very good.
Felt like a really, really long send off for Kirk.
That it did.
It was. I mean, it was always kind of like a baton handoff, almost. Like, hey,
Yeah,
even though you're 7 seasons deep
Yeah,
they
in
spent,
one movie.
yeah.
They
Good luck
spent-
in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, they spent like almost 2 hours passing that baton.
Yeah. Well, you had to deal with, fucking Malcolm McDowell.
He was fine.
Yeah.
Ta-ta.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So we'll be back next week with a better Star Trek film, in my opinion.
I'd say a more proper next gen film.
I mean, it doesn't exist in the shadow of the original series, and
Yeah.
I mean,
Borg.
it's the Borg, which is always like all hands on deck, quite literally. So
Weren't they only in like 2 or 3 episodes of the next gen?
they show up quite a. I mean, they're only a major threat because they only make one play for Earth in the entire series of Next Gen, but they show up like you see like remnants of the collective throughout. But they always kind of maintain that air of mystery. They aren't done to death like they are in Voyager.
Yeah.
But so we'll be back next week with Star Trek First Contact. This has been another Geek Out commentary. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
I'm Josh.
Have a good one. This has been another Geek Out production. If you enjoyed what you heard, hey, we've got a new commentary every Monday. We've got a special episode every Friday. Of course, there's the usual catching up show every Wednesday. And you get book club episodes just about every Tuesday these days. Thanks for listening.